American politics currently operates like a machine grinding to a halt. Costs are rising and infrastructure is failing. The legislative gears have seized under the weight of ideological gridlock. Traditional political discourse remains trapped in a loop by focusing on the outputs of this failure: high housing costs, slow healthcare systems, or energy insecurity. Fixing the machine requires looking past these visible results and into the underlying mechanics. The Frontier Party, frequently branded as the Buffalo Party, approaches this problem from an engineering perspective. Their core thesis views America as an engineering system currently choking on artificial bottlenecks. These are the specific laws and land use patterns that restrict the flow of resources and talent. By identifying and clearing these blockages through pragmatic policy, they aim to build a physical, functioning nation capable of sustaining itself through 2050. Truly fixing what is broken requires a shift in focus, treating governance as a systems engineering problem rather than a moral battlefield. To see this engineering approach in action, look at the American heartland. It contains our single largest spatial bottleneck: how we use land for energy. Millions of acres of farmland are currently locked into growing subsidized corn produced specifically for refining into ethanol fuel. This map shows the original extent of American buffalo herds and their near-total disappearance by 1889. The ecological purpose of the Great Plains has been drastically altered over the last century. Comparing that historical range to this 2023 corn yields map reveals the scale of the current system. The dark orange clusters mark the massive land area now dedicated to subsidized ethanol crops. The Buffalo Prairie Policy proposes swapping this acreage for high-yield solar energy farms, clearing land use inefficiency. To ensure absolute grid resilience, this solar network will be supplemented by modern nuclear power, providing a reliable baseline of clean energy. This transition unblocks a massive spatial bottleneck, turning subsidized farmland into a high-capacity electrical engine for the 21st century. Similar bottlenecks exist in urban centers, where artificial limits on supply directly drain citizens' bank accounts. Housing is expensive because restrictive zoning laws prevent supply from meeting demand. Here, a massive block of buyer demand crushes a stagnant supply. Comprehensive reform removes these constraints. Legalizing construction allows supply to grow and equalize, creating affordable cities. Healthcare suffers from a similar training bottleneck. Despite having thousands of willing applicants, rigid residency and education caps limit the number of professionals entering the field. Fixing this requires an intentional expansion of residency positions and the scaling up of non-physician clinical roles to unblock the healthcare talent pipeline. Permanently lowering the cost of living relies on removing the specific laws artificially choking supply. Scaling up reveals a continental bottleneck, a fragmented and isolated approach to North American strategy. This population density map shows how intertwined the US and Canada are, their demographic cores aligning along the shared border. The Stronger Together initiative leverages this reality by aligning regulations, removing tariffs, and sharing an energy grid. But none of these systemic upgrades are possible if the mechanism to elect leaders remains jammed. The rigid two-party system is the most critical bottleneck. Traditional first-past-the-vote voting creates a legislative backup, forcing all ideas into two narrow channels. Replacing it with ranked choice voting creates a multi-lane system that forces accountability and breaks partisan gridlock. Without fixing the mechanical bottleneck of how leaders are elected, resolving the systemic issues in housing or energy is impossible. The 2050 vision integrates these policies into a single package: a continental energy grid powering affordable cities, overseen by a transparent, ranked choice democracy. Third parties face massive structural hurdles to winning sweeping elections in the short term. The Frontier Party platform serves as an essential, data-driven blueprint for the nation, introducing these practical engineering concepts into the national dialogue. This platform demonstrates the value of moving away from culture wars and returning to tangible, engineering-based problem-solving. Challenging the status quo with these specific, systemic upgrades is the only viable path to finally fix what is broken